Alrighty, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good afternoon. That's 3 good afternoons. 4 good afternoons. I want to thank you all for coming out here today. It's a beautiful day outside, I think, comparatively to last week. Definitely a beautiful day. It's about a balmy 41 degrees. Beautiful. We love that. Baruch Hashem. The snow is melting, which is good because it's supposed to get cold over the weekend again, and then I think next week it gets hot again. Anyway, it's beautiful here, and it's much, much more beautiful inside with all my favorite people. Thank you for coming out. Please give yourselves a warm round of applause. And of course, we want to thank the incredible staff of Yeshiva Beth Yehuda, Partners Detroit, Prime 10 for putting on this incredible lunch and learn, and on top of that, to the amazing people at TorahAnytime.com, which is both a website and an app with thousands of Torah classes on every imaginable topic by hundreds and hundreds of incredible speakers. Hopefully, this will be loaded up there later today, and please feel free to go there, peruse the thousands of classes, and find yourself deeply inspired, as I do often at TorahAnytime.com as well. Alrighty. And now we are going to launch right into our topic because we have so much to talk about that I may even have to speak faster than I normally speak today. Okay. You know, you see a kid, you want to make a kid happy? It's very easy. Just give him an ice cream cone. That's it. All right? Kid's walking around, looking depressed, looking sad, crying. You give a kid an ice cream cone, big smile on his face. You want to make a kid even more happy? You know what you do? You give him 2 ice cream cones, right? King of the hill. Lick, 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 lick. It's strategy. This one's starting to melt. Oh no, lick here, lick there. Amazing. You want to make a kid really confused?
Give him a 3rd.
Give him 3 ice cream cones, exactly. He's got 1, he's got 2, and now you're like, and he wants that 3rd one so badly, but he has no more hands to hold it. Watch the creative solutions. He'll tuck one in right over here. Kids have no problem getting their clothing dirty or disgusting. For that matter, kids have no problem getting your clothing disgusting or dirty. My little baby always just comes over to me, wipes his hands on me, and walks away. I don't need you, Dad, but I do need a napkin. Thank you for being there at the right time. So you give a kid a 3rd ice cream cone, he's all kind of fluffing and he doesn't know what to do. That's how I feel right now, because there is absolutely so much to talk about today. And in Mir Tashem, we're going to try to cover a lot. So, last week we talked about the death of Sarah. And today we're going to try to talk about a whole bunch of things. And this is actually after the death of Sarah, there's a whole story of the finding of Rivka, the great and important mate for Yitzchak, for our forefather Yitzchak. They get married. We're not covering that in depth today, although we really should. There's so much incredible content of there as well. However, what we're going to try to talk about is the pregnancy. There's these 2 twins fighting in the womb. We're going to try to cover that. We're going to try to cover the selling of the firstborn rights, where Esau sells his firstborn rights to Jacob. And we're going to try to cover how in the middle of this whole story with Esau and Yaakov, there's like this break in the Torah, and it goes to this discussion of Yitzchak going down to the land of Gerar, and there's these wells, and he's fighting over the wells. They're digging them up, they're filling them up, they're digging them up. And then we're going to hopefully finally cover the stealing of the blessings by Jacob, considered to be a very, very high ethical, moral wrong by some people who absolutely don't understand the depth of the story here. And you will no longer be amongst those by the end of today, God willing. Here we go. Let's try to cover it all. We got at least 3 ice cream cones. So we're going to go a little bit out of order. We're going to go out of order, and we're going to jump to selling of the firstborn rights for $400. Here we go. Let us look at your source sheets, please.
Okay.
So we're going to start off with a piece from Bereishis Chav Hey, Chav Zayin to Lamed Daled, or Genesis 25, 27 through 34. Vayigdalu hane'arim, and the boys grew up, Esav and Yaakov. Vahi Esav Yodea Tzayed Isadeh. And Esav was a skilled trapper, a man of the field. And I'll just read it in English to save ourselves time. We got so much to cover. Yaakov was a man without fault, a man of the tents. He liked to sit in the tents and study. Yitzchak loved Esav because he ate of his trappings, but Rivka loved Yaakov. Yaakov was simmering a pottage when Esav came in from the field and he was exhausted. Esav said to Yaakov, "Please give me a swallow of this red. Pour some of that red down my throat, for I am exhausted." He was therefore named Edom, which means red. His nation, the nation that came out of Esau, is named Edom. Yaakov said, "You want some of my red? That red's going to cost you." as of this day, sell your birthright to me. You were the firstborn. I get it. I tried. Hold on to your ankle. I was trying to pull you back in. I didn't get out first. You got out first. You want my red? Let's make a little trade over here. You sell me your birthright. I'll give you some pottage, some red. And Esav said, I'm about to die anyway. What good is to me the birthright? Yaakov said, okay, fine. You want to trade? Let's go. Swear to me as of this day. He swore to him and sold his birthright to Yaakov. Yaakov then gave Esav bread and a pottage of lentils. He ate and drank, got up, and left. Thus Esav scorned the birthright. Okay. So let's take the story apart a little bit at a time. For starters, let's look at the Medrash. The Medrash tells us that Esav came home from the field. And there's something called in the Torah where we look at wordings and we see certain words that are put in certain places. It's like a hyperlink. So you have a web page on Wikipedia and talks about Australia, for example, and it says the capital of Australia is Sydney, and the word Sydney is blue with a line underneath it, because it's a hyperlink. If you click on the hyperlink from Sydney, it will take you to the Sydney page. So the Torah has a system like that as well. There are certain words that the Torah uses that are really a hyperlink telling you, look over here, look over here. So if we look at certain words over here, it says, Vayavo Esav, the wording is, hold on a second, Vayavo Esav min hasadeh v'hu ayef. And Esav came from the field and he was tired. What was exactly so tiring of? What was he doing in the field? It says the Medrash, the word field also describes, there's another Torah word where we use that word field. It's describing when a man finds a betrothed woman in the field and violates her. So the Medrash tells us that that day, Esav had found a betrothed woman and had violated her in the field. So that was one reason for him being exhausted. But it's not yet done. He also killed somebody that day. Continues the Medrash, and he was exhausted because he killed somebody, says the Medrash Bereishis. And it says, it's Bereishis Rabbah, Samach Gimel, Chavtes, Medrash Bereishis Rabbah 63:29. And he was exhausted, continues the Medrash, because he killed somebody, as it said, my soul is exhausted because of the murderers. And then furthermore, Rav Berchia and Rav Zechia the Great said he also robbed. Because it says if robbers come to you, and it says he came from the field. So we use all these hyperlinks and we discover that Esav had a pretty busy day that day. Right? So Esav was busy doing what I call, I made up a word for this, it's called pillaging. Right? It's a nice little contraction word of killing and pillaging. Right? So he was busy taking long strolls in the park with other people's wives, killing people and robbing. Exhausting day. You know, when you come home from a long day of killing and violating other people, you want a good meal. You want a good meal. You guys know the feeling, I'm sure. Okay? So, he comes home and he finds his brother. And his brother is making a pottage, which is weird, because it doesn't usually tell us in the Torah, and then Abraham came home, and it was when he was 83 years old, in 14 days, and he made himself lentil stew. And then when he was 83 years old and 17 days, he made roasted chicken in a Dutch oven. You know, I don't like doing that. Yeah, slow and easy is the way to win the race. Okay, so it doesn't really normally tell you like what's on the menu at various great people's houses. But here it's telling you that Yaakov is in the middle of making a pottage. So was there like a cholent, a new cholent recipe discovered in Yeshiva that year? Were they having an iron blech competition? Like, why are you telling me that Yaakov is in the middle of making a pottage, a stew of lentils? There you go. You know the deal. So the deal is, you can see this in Rashi. Rashi tells us. He also quoting from the Medrash. Source number 3. It says it was red lentils. Why? Because Abraham, our first of our forefathers, had died on that day. Why did he die on that day? Because God had promised Abraham that he was going to die of a good old age. Watching your grandchild become a murderer and a pillager and a robber, that's not a great old age. That does not leave you going to the grave feeling comfortable. So Hashem did Abraham, so to speak, a favor and took him early so he should not have to see his grandson Esav becoming such a horrible human being. So Abraham dies early that day. Of course, Esav's not around. He's busy doing his thing. Yaakov starts making lentil soup. There's a custom in Jewish tradition that when we come back from a funeral, we serve things that are circular, like eggs like lentils, because it's supposed to remind us of the continuity of life. A circle has no beginning and no end. When someone is in this world, so it looks like we just put somebody in the ground. But the reality is that we know the soul is eternal. And the soul is just starting to come back up. It's continuing to live its eternal life in the next world. So the idea of serving at a home right after, there's a su'uda, there's a meal called Sudas Havra, which is the meal that we serve to people right when they come back from a cemetery. And we always serve circular things in the foods, in the meal, to remind us of the eternality of life. So Yaakov is making lentil stew for his father, who just finished burying his father, right? He's making lentil stew for his father, Yitzchak, who just finished burying Abraham. And why did Abraham die? So he shouldn't have to see Esav doing what he does. And Esav comes in, and he's starving, and he sees Yaakov is making red lentil soup. Okay. So what does he say? He says, pour down my throat some of that red, please. And then the Torah, it's weird. It's telling a story. And then the Torah breaks with the narrative. And it just says, Al Kain Kara Shemo Edom. Therefore, he was named Red. And his people are always, for eternity, going to be known as Red. Now, first of all, there's a couple of things that are strange here. Number one, there's an absolute break in the narrative. Like, you're in the middle of telling a story, we're all getting into it, and then suddenly you start telling me historical details. Like, and therefore his name was called Edom. So whenever the Torah breaks from a normal narrative to tell us a detail that seems outside of the narrative, it's actually fundamental to the narrative. So what is the deal with that? Number two, in Judaism we believe that your name describes your essence. It's an amazing exercise to do. You look at people's names. There are rabbis who can literally look at your name. They will write your name out and the name of your mother, and they will look at the paper and start telling you about you, or telling me about you. I can submit your name to somebody else, and they can tell me, good person, not such. I know, I one time had an issue, it was a business dealing, and there was a lot of uncomfortability, and I didn't feel someone was acting with great honesty, and one of the rabbis I'm very close with said, get me his name, his full Hebrew name. And I got his full Hebrew name, and he said, get out. And he was right, 100% right. Right? 100% right. Tell you what else is right. I'm making a bracha on this delicious water. So hold on a second. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. So a name in Hebrew is not just something we randomly assign. The Talmud even says that when we give names to our children when they're babies, Hashem gives us a little micro prophecy. So we should be able to give them the right name that will really define their essence. So, I'll give an example. My name is Yehuda Leiby. Yehuda means to give thanks, lahodos, right? Leah named her child Yehuda because now I give thanks to Hashem. Thankfully, thanks is something that comes pretty easy to me, right? If dinner is good, and dinner generally is really good in my house, thank God, my wife's not here this week, I would be able to give her a whole shout out, but that's what happens, she's not here, she don't get no shout outs. She makes amazing dinner. In the course of dinner, I'll try to thank her, and it's not even, by now already, thank God, it's a habit. I'll thank her for the delicious dinner 3 or 4 or 5 times during dinner. It's good. Why not be thankful? Most of my emails, almost, I would say 95% of my emails end with the following salutation. Not all sincerely yours, not all the best. It's thanks, comma, Leiby. As a matter of fact, on my dictation, it's always like, say the email, new line, thanks, comma, new line, Leiby, right? It's like, that's, so you could ask me, you could say to me, hey Leiby, what time is davening this weekend on Kabbalah Shabbos? And I'll say back to you, 5:15, thanks Leiby. What am I thanking you for? You ask me, but that's my name. It's kind of my nature. It's not really, I didn't have much of a choice. My parents, thankfully, amazing, thankfully, my parents named me Leiby, Yehuda Leiby, so that became my meetup. Another one of my names is Leiby, which means like alive and liveliness, which, again, thank God, pretty lively guy. Okay, so like, that would describe, it's an amazing thing. Like, you can look at your Hebrew name and start to really see who you are, right? My wife, her name is Sarah. The word Sarah means princess, or noblewoman. And the first thing I noticed about my wife when I met her for the first time was that she had a regal bearing to her. It's a weird thing. You don't normally use that. I don't normally use that language to describe people. They have regal bearing. But I noticed that my wife has this certain aristocratic regal bearing. But of course she did. Her name is Sarah. So when we call somebody a name, it's not just a name in Judaism. It describes their essence. So you're telling me now that Esav and all of his descendants, which are many, right? The entire Roman world and all that Western civilization descends from Esav. From now on, they will be called red. Why? Because their great-great-great-great-grandfather said, give me some of that red. Like, what does it do with anything? How does red describe his essence? But again, super deep understanding over here. How does red describe the essence of the food? Esav walks into the house and says, give me some of that red. Now, imagine I say to you guys, can someone here do me a favor? After the class is over, can one of you please go to Home Depot and get me a red? You're like, a red what? A red. Get me a red. A red what? Like a red hammer? A red plastic pipe for your basement? A red vacuum cleaner? A red, screwdriver? Like, what do you want? Red paint? Exactly. Red paint. There's many shades of red for that. You can get me red, right? Like, what do you want? What does that mean, get me red? A color describes something on the absolute most basic possible level. It doesn't tell me what it is. It doesn't tell me what its function is. It doesn't tell me what its message is. It doesn't tell me what its use is. It tells me, give me some red. Red is now, by the way, color is the also easiest thing to notice about something. Because as soon as you walk in, you see something across the room. Before you can even get close to it and see what is that, you notice its color. So color is the most basic packet of information you could have about something that tells you absolutely nothing, but it's just easy to notice. Oh, another red, the red. Bring me the red. The red what? What's the function? Why do you want it? Doesn't make a difference. Red. What we're going to learn about Esav throughout the day today, or at least throughout this hour. I don't think we're going to be sticking around for the rest of the day talking about Esav, although we could. If you guys would like to, we'll do till 4. We'll do till 4. Okay. What we're going to see about Esav is that Esav is a man who wants the quick fix. He doesn't want to invest any energy, any extra energy in anything. It's the absolute, I see a betrothed woman. She's beautiful, but she's not mine. She's betrothed to somebody else. So what? Right? I'll take her anyway. I see a person, he's getting in my way, I don't like him for whatever reason, but he's another human being. So what? I'll cut him down, I'll kill him. Someone else has a really nice car. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to him. I see it, but I want it. So what? I steal it. Absolutely no thought of the long-term consequences of your actions. It's, I have a need, I want it now, I take it now. I don't care. I don't want to invest time or energy thinking about all these moral dilemmas. Should I kill this guy or should I not? I don't know. It's a tough call, right? I don't want to be involved in that. You're in my way? Boom. I don't like you? Boom. You have stuff that I want? I steal it. Esav is a man who is all about satisfying whatever it is I need right now, without at all looking beneath the surface. Is this good for me? Is this bad for me? I want it, I take it. He comes into the kitchen. Yaakov is stirring a red pottage. What does he say? Give me some of the red. Whatever it is, who cares? I don't care what it is. I don't care why it is. Give me some of that red. Let's look at the stark contrast between Esav and Yaakov. Esav says, give me some of the red. Yaakov is stewing a pottage. A pottage of what? A pottage of lentils. Why is he stewing it? Is it just because it's nutritionally good? No. Because there's a deep underlying message of spirituality in those lentils, telling you about the incredible eternality of the soul and how life continues and there's an afterlife. We're talking about a message of deep spiritual import, going deep into the future. So whereas Esav, all he notices is the most basic unit of information about something, the color. I don't even care. Yaakov is going to the deepest possible level of unit of understanding of something. He's not only talking about what it is and what function it has, but what's the message behind it. So you guys see the contrast? Right. Most basic unit of information, Esav, therefore he shall be called red. Yaakov is, again, he's the most deep level of information. It's not just what it is or what color it is, what function it has, but rather what's the message behind it. That's how Yaakov lives his life. Thinking deeply into what he's doing, what's the message behind it, what's this going to bring for me, what's this going to do for me, how's this going to help my father, how's this going to help people around me. That is Yaakov. The Torah says, therefore we shall call him Edom. We're going to call you red for the rest of your existence, because what that represents is that you are a nation or a people that only looks at whatever will give me pleasure right now. You don't look at the investment in the future. You just say, basic unit of information. Looks good, take it. Doesn't look good, I don't want it. No depth, no searching for meaning, no willing to struggle beneath at all the surface level. So that's the first story. Okay? So we now understand the selling of the Bechorah. Right? Oh, and by the way, let's go back. What was the Bechorah? Esav says, I'm going to die anyway. What do I need the Bechorah for? The Bechorah, the firstborn rights, means the ability to serve in the temple, the ability to be the Kohanim, to be the priests. It has such incredible value. But what does Esav say? I'm going to die right now, so what do I need it for? It's value in the future. I don't see value in the future. All I look at is right here and now. Now the thing is, why does Yaakov want to buy it from him so desperately? Because the Bechorah is the nuclear football. It's an incredibly powerful tool. Being the firstborn, because it carries all these really important roles and jobs, to be the Kohanim, to be the leaders of the people, to serve God at the highest level, Yaakov says, I cannot leave the nuclear football in the hands of a guy who's so rash in his decision-making. A person who all he sees is give me red. A person who kills and steals and violates other people and never looks beneath the surface, leaving him with possession of the Bechorah, of this incredible power that the firstborn son gets, is absolutely dangerous. I need to do whatever I can to get the nuclear football out of his hands. Okay, Esav, gently. Yeah, I'll give you your pottage. Pass the nuclear football. Pass it. Okay, let's sign the document. Okay, here you go. Here's your pottage. You can go home now. What does Esav do? Drinks, eats, kicks the door. What did I give up? I gave up nothing. There's nothing in it. There was nothing in it. It's the Bechorah. It's the firstborn rights for all of eternity. But you don't care because it doesn't do anything for you right now. So that is the first story. Okay.
Esav was referred to Edom when he was born, right from the day he was born.
So Esav had a reddish complexion right from the beginning. That's true. But by the way, so did David HaMelech. Right? David HaMelech had a reddish complexion too. David HaMelech is someone who took the same character traits that Esav had and turned it around for good. Esav was a person who didn't develop it at all and just remained Esav. All the negative associates of red remained with him, whereas for David HaMelech, he was also born red, but yet he developed it and he worked on himself and he changed himself to David HaMelech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam, that will be the Mashiach. Okay, so that is the first story that we see here. Okay, let's go out of order again. We're going to skip again for a moment. Hold on a second. Close properly. I knew there was a reason why I brought my boots today. I'm spilling on myself. Okay. You never know when winter's going to come back and attack. I finally gotten comfortable with my boots. I'm not taking them off. I'm sorry. Okay. Next story. There's this weird story. Yitzchak goes down to Gerar. Okay, so there's the standard. They try to steal his wife and kill him, but God comes and saves him. That's a pretty standard story now. We're getting used to that already, right? But then there's this weird thing. Yitzchak goes back to all these wells that his father had dug. Digging a well is a lot of work, right? A lot of work. You're sitting there and the earth gets clayey and mossy and hard and you got to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and you go down 5 feet, no water, 10 feet, no water, 15 feet, no water, 20 feet, we hit water. You're deep all the way down in the hole. You got to send the dirt up. It's a lot of back-breaking labor. Water is great though, right? Water is great. But surprisingly, the Philistines, they had stopped up all the wells that Abraham built. Why in the world would they stop up a well? Right? Abraham lived in your community for a while. He did this amazing thing. He dug well after well after well. And then he left. You should be so overjoyed. It's like a guy comes and he plants a beautiful orchard in the middle of your community, in the middle of the park that used to be a wasteland. He covers the whole thing over, and he builds a beautiful park. And then when he leaves, you say, let's cut down all the trees and bring them back to a trash heap. What are you doing? Why in the world would anybody fill in a well? Wells are good. They provide water. Water is necessary for human life. Someone should do that, and then he leaves, leaving you behind those wells. Oh, thank you, Mr. Avram, and great. But no, they keep filling in these wells. And then there's all these fights. They keep fighting over the wells. And finally, they come to a peace agreement. There's another thing that's interesting about wells. You'll notice that wells have a very prominent place in the Torah. Let's see. Where does Eliezer find a mate for Yitzchak? At the side of a well. Where does Yaakov find his future mate? Rachel. At a well. Where does Moshe go when he's on the lam from Egypt and he's looking for a wife? To the well. What's the deal? What is the deal with wells? Okay. So I heard an incredible vart, actually from Rebbitzin Heller. My mother is a huge, huge Rebbitzin Heller groupie, as everyone should be. She's an absolutely incredible woman. And I used to get an email. I don't know, somehow I was on this email list. I've been kicked off it soon. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, she talks about wells. And she says like this. What is a well? It's nothing. It's a piece of ground. Then you start digging. You dig a little bit more. And you dig a little bit more. And a little bit more. And suddenly you burst beneath the surface to this incredible source of life. That is the pursuit of a spiritual life. At first, your life has a level of barrenness. There's nothing there. Then you start working on yourself. And it's hot, and it's sweaty, and you're schlepping, and you're got the shovel, and you're throwing up all the dirt. You got to send the dirt up with a bucket. It comes back down, and back up, and back down. And you dig 10 feet, 15 feet. It's hard. It's boiling hot. It's tiring. But then suddenly, you break through, and you find water, the source of life. This is a parable for life. Torah is a parable for life. Torah is niknas b'yisurim. Torah is acquired through hard work and challenge. Right? It's not easy to take upon yourself anything. Right? Any spiritual accomplishment is not easy to take upon yourself. You've got to really work yourself over. I decided I'm not going to talk during services anymore, during shul. I'm not going to talk anymore. That's not easy. I decided I'm going to start getting up early and I'm going to start finishing Tehillim every month. Whatever it is that I decide I want to do. None of these things are easy. You got to work it and work it and work it, but eventually you burst out into this incredible, cool, refreshing water, the source of life itself. So, when all of our forefathers were going to the side of a well to look for a mate, what they were saying is, we're looking for somebody who's ready to look beneath the surface. We're looking for somebody who's ready to dig and dig and dig. Not seeing the results right there, maybe not seeing the results for months and months to come, but eventually getting there, because that's what life is all about. Why did the Philistines fill in the wells of Abraham? They don't like his message. Whenever there's that guy who starts growing spiritually, or that girl who starts growing spiritually, and we're not on board with them, what do? We try to fill up their well, and make fun of them, and cut down their accomplishments. Oh, look at Bob, he's so crazy. I heard he started keeping Sabbath, or whatever, or whatever, like, oh yeah, she's so holy, she won't talk any gossip anymore. Yeah, you were with us for the last 15 years talking gossip every afternoon, and suddenly you're all holier than thou? We try to cut down those who have spiritual accomplishments near us because it makes us feel inadequate. When somebody's got this beautiful well with clear, fresh water, and we don't, I get a little bit jealous, but I don't want to dig a well. That's hard work, right? Digging a well takes a long time. You're sweating and it's difficult, and you're shoveling and you're handling all the dirt up in buckets. That's a lot of difficulty. I don't want to be doing that. So what do? But I don't want to see him sitting there drinking his cool, fresh water with a big smile on his face. I don't like seeing the joy and the happiness that comes to he who leads the proper life later on. So I can either try to make an investment similar to his, which is a lot of work, or I just fill up his hole. And then neither of us have water, and all is back, everything's good. Life is good. We all got nothing. So the message of the Philistines filling up Avram's well is saying, we don't want to do your thing. We don't want to put in the work. We don't want to have to do all that, but we also don't want to see anyone being accomplished outside of us either, because that makes us feel inadequate. So let's fill up your well. Let's find ways we can make fun of us. Let's make fun of you. By the way, it's a fascinating thing. Like, you really see, like, there's a certain schadenfreude that people get when they are able to make fun of people more religious than them. It's like, it's so affirming to my own patheticism when I can make fun of religious people. I say, oh yeah, but see, that religious person, you know what he did? He did this. And those religious people, they did that. And then, because why? Because I get to feel good about myself. And the rabbi, did you know that the rabbi did this? I feel so great. Because then I don't have to do any of the work. I just make fun of him, just fill up his well. Just make fun of the rabbi, make fun of the religious people. Say, well, there's a bunch of religious people doing this in Israel, and there's this doing, so therefore you guys are all puzzled, you're all disqualified, and then I don't got to worry about digging a well. Amazing. So that's the story of the well, and that is totally connected to the story of Esav. Esav is somebody who does not want to dig beneath the surface. He's an Edomite. He's a red. Immediate results. I don't want to work for it. I don't want to toil for it. I want it now. Yaakov represents the other pole, the pole of spirituality, which is I will work for it. I will toil for it, and then I'll enjoy the fruits of my labor for so long. When you look at it, it's an amazing thing. The Torah life. It's so absolutely incredible. It takes a lot of time and effort to really, truly bring it into your life and into your heart. And I don't care whether you're born religious or not religious. It's got nothing to do with how you were born. Because you could have been born the most religious person in the world. You still need to go through a lot of work to bring the beauty and joy of Torah into your heart and into your life. But once you get it there, it's the sweetest thing in the world. Shabbos is so absolutely amazing. You know, you hear people say, Shabbos is... Even people who keep Shabbos are so bored. It's such a difficult day. I'm like, really? I'm in sheer ecstasy for 25 hours a week. There's not a minute of Shabbos I don't like. Which part should I not like? First of all, the best part is taking your phone, plugging it in, and putting it away. Already amazing. Before Shabbos even comes in, just the smell of Shabbos, I'm feeling great. I put away my phone. I go to shul. We're singing over there and singing. It's beautiful, beautiful services. Everyone's talking good Shabbos to each other, seeing all your friends that you haven't seen the whole week because you're busy working and they're busy working. You go home. There's an incredible meal. You have your kids sitting around the table. You're singing with them and you're saying Divrei Torah and asking questions and brachos, and kids are bringing stuff from school. And then if it's in the winter, you have a little time to study some Torah after the dinner. Or if you're exhausted like me and you just fall asleep after dinner no matter what time dinner ends, you wake up in the morning a little bit early because you're used to getting up early in the morning, but you don't have anywhere to go. Davening's not until 8:30 or 9, so you go downstairs, you make yourself a coffee, you learn a little bit, whatever you want. There's no set schedule. You go to shul, you daven, you go to a kiddush afterwards, you come home, you have a meal, you go to sleep, you wake up, you learn a little bit, you have shalashudis, you're singing with your friends. What is wrong? It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. It's such blissful time. But honestly, myself, that wasn't always the way I looked at Shabbos. There were definitely times in my life where I was looking at Shabbos like, when's this thing going to end? Like, for real? Like, is my watch on strike? Right? So spirituality is an investment. It's an investment to learn how to appreciate learning Torah. It's an investment to learn how to feel great about giving charity. It's very difficult. I made money, I worked really hard, and I give it away. I could use it, I really could. Like, I have needs. It's not like I'm just going to take it and store it in Bitcoin or something. I have a real use for it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to give it away. It takes a while, but there's a certain, once a person gets into giving, they dig. It's difficult at first. They're digging. It's hard. You're giving money away. You really want it. You need it. You keep giving it away, but then suddenly you burst out onto the bottom of this well, and there's like this incredible fresh water that you see suddenly all the joys of giving, and it becomes almost addictive. I want to give more. I want to do more. It's so beautiful, so thankful that we have the ability to give. Amazing. What a bracha. So all of spirituality is about saying, can I get beneath the surface or not? It's going to take work. It's like a well. And there are many other people who don't want to put in the effort and would much rather close up your well and disqualify any spiritual accomplishments you have than do the work themselves. And they'll find everybody else, anybody ever who religious, who did this wrong and that wrong, just to close up other people's well so they don't have to dig themselves. Okay. Let's pause for a quick story. to describe the difference between the external value, the red, and the internal value. This story goes back to the old Yishuv of Yerushalayim. There was a lot of Jews, not a lot of Jews, a community of Jews living in the old city for hundreds of years, and their life was really difficult. They were mostly under the Turks' control, the Ottomans' control. This story goes back to the late 1800s, maybe early 1900s. And they were under the Ottoman control, and they were poor. They were mostly reliant on donations from wealthy Jews living in the diaspora. And there's this little boy, a 12-year-old boy, whose name was Yitzchak Eisenbach. He's walking on the streets of the old Yishuv one Shabbos afternoon when he sees on the floor something shiny. He walks over to it, and he can't believe his eyes. It is a golden dinar. Not a silver dinar, not a copper dinar, a golden dinar. Now that dinar alone would have been enough to feed his family for a year. And his family was hungry. His family was starving, like most families in the Yishuv. I always tell my wife and kids, I was like, what a blessing. When kids come home from school, they say, what's for dinner? Back in the day, they used to come home from school and say, are we having dinner tonight? And often the answer was no. Sorry, we couldn't. No dinner. Maybe go next door. Go visit with the Kleins. Maybe they're having dinner tonight, you know? So he sees this golden dinar on the floor. Now here's the halacha is that money on Shabbos is muktzah. You're not allowed to pick up money on Shabbos. But there's a golden dinar. It's enough to feed his family for a year. So he thinks, and he says, here's what I'll do. The golden dinar was in a little bit, like a little depression in the ground. He puts his shoe over it, and he just stands there. So he's not even touching the golden dinar, but he'll just stand there until Shabbos is over. And as soon as Shabbos is over, he'll scoop it up and walk away. Amazing. Problem solved. So he's sitting there, and the time is going by. People are like, hey, Yitzchak, you want to play? No, I'm good. I'm just chilling. Now there's this Arab boy, about a 16-year-old kid, whatever it is. He's passing by. The Jews and the Arabs lived pretty peacefully back then, at least in the earlier days, before. And he sees this Jewish boy standing in this, like, just peculiar, just like he's standing in the middle of the street like this. Okay, doesn't make it, all right, maybe he's thinking, he's meditating. A few hours later, this Arab boy is coming back the other direction. And he sees the same kid standing there. So this is really suspicious. He says to the kid, why are you standing there? I'm just standing here. What are you standing there for? Nothing. I'm just standing. Are you standing on top of something? Oh, no. So the Arab kid comes. He was a big guy. He was 16 years old, whatever. And this kid's a 12-year-old kid. And he just pushes the kid away, and he sees the coin. And he snatches it, and he runs away. So this kid feels so depressed, right? Remember, like when we imagine, let's call it dinar, let's call it $10,000, right? A golden dinar, today's money. Imagine if you found $10,000. You'd be thinking, what am I going to get? Maybe I'll get a new necklace. Maybe I'll get a new pair of shoes. Whatever, a new computer, a new laptop. This kid, he found a golden dinar, and all he's thinking is he was just dreaming that he'd be able to feed his family for a year. That's what he was dreaming of. He was not dreaming of candy, of a new house, a new car. All he's thinking of is, I'm going to be able to feed my family. And he was so happy to be able to feed his family. And now, in a blink, that whole thing was taken away from him. So he's so depressed. Mm-hmm. He can't even go home. He limps off to the Chernobyl base medrash. There was a Hasidic group from Chernobyl in Russia that had come to Israel, and they had established a presence there, and they had a base medrash, they had a shul. And he is so disheartened that he can't even go into the main section because he's afraid he's going to start crying. People are going to see him crying. So he sits in the Ezra's Nashim in the women's section. And then after, in those, a lot of shuls, like my shul, after Mincha and Shabbos, they make Shalosh Shudas in the shul. It's beautiful. You get to sit with your friends, again, who you don't get to see a lot during the week, and you have a little meal together, and you sing together, you hear Divrei Torah. It's a beautiful, beautiful minhag to have Shalosh Shudas. During the summer, I usually it's a larger meal. It's later in the day. We are more hungry by then, so I'll usually have it with my wife and kids. But during the winter, when anyway you just ate a couple hours before, I'll usually have it in shul. It's a very beautiful thing. So they start having Shalosh Shudas in the shul. And little Yitzchak Eisenbach doesn't even go in for Shalosh Shudas. He's so depressed. And then Shalosh Shudas is over, and they daven Ma'ariv. And then Shana Barav knew what was up. He sees this kid in the back, and he's like unhappy. He didn't know what happened to him, but so after davening is over, he tells one of his Hasidim, go tell that boy in the Ezra's Nashim to come to my office after Havdalah. Okay? So they have Havdalah, the rabbi makes Havdalah, and then after Havdalah he goes to his office, and this boy, the rabbi told him to come, he comes, and the rabbi says to him, why do you look so depressed? And the boy just breaks out crying. Like he's like, Stan, I found this money, an entire golden dinar. I could have supported my family for a year, and I was dreaming I was going to help them out. And my poor family, they're starving, and I was going to help them out for a year, and this and that. And then this kid came, and he threw me away, and he stole the money, and he's crying. The Chernobyl Rav opens up his drawer and takes out a golden dinar. And he says, son, I'll tell you what. You did a pretty impressive mitzvah today. You could have just picked it up. You could have said, Muktzah on Shabbos, it's Drabanan, whatever, and you could have found all kinds of halachic reasons for doing it. Right? People today are very good at using halacha to prove whatever they want. Right? As long as you paint a circle, you say, this is where I want to get to. You could just start painting halacha around it. You could say you're allowed to drive a car on Shabbos, right? The Torah specifically says don't burn a fire. You turn on your car, you're turning the ignition, you're turning on a spark plug. But if you decide that you want to drive a car on Shabbos, then you can find a way. Just surround that little target with, you put the arrow where you want it to go, and you write the bullseye around it. So you could have found all kinds of reasons, but you did the right thing. You held strong to halacha, and it even cost you the dinar. That's an incredible mitzvah. Here's what I propose. I will buy that mitzvah from you for this golden dinar. I'll buy the mitzvah from you. I'll give you this golden dinar to buy that mitzvah. It's such a special mitzvah you did. And this young Eisenbach boy thinks, he looks up and he says, if you're willing to buy that mitzvah for me for a golden dinar, I would never sell it for a golden dinar. Because he realized the value of that mitzvah must be so great. If this rabbi is willing to spend $10,000 for that mitzvah, the mitzvah must be worth $1 million, whatever it is. If you're willing to buy it for a golden dinar, I'm not selling it for a golden dinar. So you have the apparent value of the golden dinar, $10,000, let's say, or the equivalent of. But then there's the deep, deep value, which is a mitzvah here, eternity. And Yitzchak Eisenbach makes the absolute right choice. By the way, that Eisenbach family is one of the most chashiv, most regal Jerusalemite families. They're still around today. One of my teachers was an Eisenbach, and that Eisenbach, Yitzchak Eisenbach, was blessed with generations and generations and generations of holy, pious Jews. My rabbi, Rabbi Eisenbach, who was my rabbi when I was in 8th grade, not only was he a proud Yerushalmi from this long line of Yerushalmi Jews going back generations and generations, but he also worked with people in the prisons, and he did, besides being a teacher of young students, he did incredible good deeds. So he got his reward, and it was worth far more than a dinar. There's the shiny, shiny, apparent value of something. And then there's the deep, deep, deep. And it takes a lot of courage, and a lot of strength, and a lot of toil to get to the below the surface value. That's where the water is at. That's where real life is at. Okay, next. Let's get back to the fighting in the womb. Okay, we're running out of time. Let's get back to the fighting in the womb. We're going to try to cover everything. The fighting in the womb. There's two, says Rashi, if you look at source number 6. Thank you. Says Rashi, Vayisrotetsu habanim bekirba, and the boys clashed inside her womb. Says Rashi, Misrotetzim zamzeh, they were struggling with one another. Umerivim benachlas shnei olamos, and they were arguing over the inheritance of two worlds. What are the two worlds? The two worlds are Olam Haba and Olam Hazeh. This world and the next world. So I have a simple solution. I don't know if you know this, but I'm also a therapist. Besides being a rabbi, I'm a therapist. I've been trained And especially social workers, we're really good at let's find a happy medium, right? And you go to a psychiatrist, he'll write you out a prescription. You go to a therapist, let's try to work out a happy medium, okay? So, I have a happy medium. You got two kids, Esav and Yaakov. Esav is a physical man, right? Esav is a highly physical man. He loves all the things that he can steal and take by force and kill. He wants to be all involved here. He's an ish sadeh. He's a man of the field. Yaakov is a very spiritual man. Yaakov sits in the tents and learns Torah. He's like a spiritual man. Here's a great idea. You're fighting over two worlds. Here's what will happen. Yaakov, you get Olam Haba. You get to spend your time with God in Olam Haba, spiritual, beautiful place. Esav, you get Olam Hazeh. You get a place filled with all the things you like. Hunting and trapping and killing, right? Hunting and trapping, killing and stealing, right? These are... Beautiful! That's a compromise! What are you going to fight over it for? Don't fight over it. I got to work out a solution over here. But the answer is no. Here's the problem. They both want both worlds. Yaakov he needs this world. And he needs to be able to subdue this world in order to earn the next world. Yaakov knows that you don't just get to go to heaven. You have to struggle to get to heaven. It's got to be a fight, and it's difficult. And you've got to subdue all your this worldly urges. And in order to merit being worthy of the next world. So Yaakov says, it won't be enough for me to just have the next world. If I didn't earn it, it's worthless. I need to earn it. And the way I earn it is by subduing this world. Esav says, I want to enjoy this world. But the problem is, as long as I know that there's a next world out there, as long as I know that there's other people who are going to get it far better than me for all of eternity, I can't enjoy it. I can't enjoy all my killing and stealing because I know that deep down in my head, there's a next world and I'm going to get punished for it. There's reward and punishment. I don't want that. So what I need to do, in order for me to enjoy this world, I've got to subdue the next world. I got to fill up the whole next world with dirt. I got to make it disappear. I got to be an atheist and proudly proclaim, there is no world to come. There is no reckoning day. Then I can do whatever I want here and I don't care. Because when I die, I'll just become organic matter. Put me on my flower blade. At least I'll bring some beauty to the world. There's no afterlife. So Esav says, in order for me to exist and enjoy this world the way I want to enjoy it, just grabbing and taking and shoveling down whatever I can get or steal, I need to subdue the next world. I need to make all those religious people, all the Jewish people disappear. Hitler says this. Hitler says the Jews are the conscience of the world. That's their crime. The crime of the children of Yaakov. You have the children of Esav and the children of Yaakov thousands of years later. Hitler is from the children of Esav. And what does he say? I don't want the Jews around because their crime is that they give a conscience to humanity. I want to be a barbarian. I want to just do whatever I want and not feel guilty about it. But as long as those Jews are around in this world, I know I'm going to feel bad. I got to subdue those otherworldly people. I got to fill up all the wells until there's nothing. And then I can just sit here and do nothing and be okay with it. So that explains the story of fighting in the womb. And what does the story end with? The story ends with people say Yaakov stole the blessings. Yaakov didn't steal diddly squat. Yaakov bought the blessings. He bought the firstborn rights. Yitzchak was never told. Yaakov was so kind, he never told Yitzchak, he never told his father, by the way, you know that your older son sold me his firstborn rights for a bowl of pottage. Because he didn't want his father to be disappointed with his son. So Yaakov, through using subterfuge, what does he do then? Does he steal anything that's not belonging to him? It's like, imagine I creep into my closet when nobody's looking, and I take out a couple pairs of socks and I run away. I said, Leiby, why are you stealing your socks? They're my socks. Okay, so you did it a little bit weird. You crept into the room, you made sure no one was looking, you grabbed the socks, you walked out. It's your socks. Yaakov didn't steal the blessings. They belonged to him. They were the firstborn blessings. He was the firstborn by deed and title. And what ends up happening? There comes Esau at the end of the story, crying, tears rolling down his cheeks, saying, I can't believe it. At the end of the day, he was the one invested. And he has everything now and I've got nothing, which is the way the story always ends. While we're here and in this world, we're running around young and dumb, doing our thing. We just give me the red, I don't care. Oh, religion, spirituality, it's too much work, it's too much this, it doesn't really talk to me, yada, yada, yada. But then we don't invest, and then we look back at our lives at some point. And if we haven't put in the effort, we look back and we're filled with remorse. Why didn't I put in more? Why didn't I dig those wells? I'm starving now, I'm thirsty. And it's too late, that's the end of the Esau. The end story, the end game for every Esau out there. For every Esau out there, the end game is that at the end of our lives, at the end of his life, he looks back and says, why didn't I do what I was supposed to do? It could have been so easy, I would have dug a well, big deal. That, my friends, is the story of the two brothers. The brother who's willing to dig, and the brother who's willing to fill up other people's wells. May we all dig. We all have plenty of time left. Let's dig and dig and dig. Thank you very much. Have a good job.